I didn't hear the blip. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Random Hangout. Okay, we're going to try to do this intro. Hey, Miss Rhonda, you're out in Fort, where, Lauderdale?
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Woo!
So, she is most certainly not overwhelmed by social media today. We are going to be talking about social media overwhelm today, but before we do, I'm going to see if the third or fourth or fifth time is a charm for me to play this intro.
Something's got to give for you. Oh my gosh.
Is it working?
Yes. But I don't hear the sound.
We got some great tips today. Woo! And so there we are. We did it. Hey, Rhonda, welcome. And welcome to
Hey.
all of our viewers. Random Hangout.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm coming to you from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We are on the last leg of our Florida road trip. And what we found was that we like the east side beaches in Florida better. So we went halfway up the west side. I didn't quite make it all the way up the west side quite yet. And we discovered that their beaches aren't as fabulous as what we like, but it's total personal preference, just like the social media stuff's going to be today that we're going to tell you about. But it is. And people I've talked to, I get mixed reviews. Hey, do you like West Side beaches, West Florida beaches, or East Florida beaches? And every time it's a different answer. So, but for us personally, we like the East Side beaches. So we did a little backtrack through the Florida Everglades, saw some crocodiles. That was so cool. And came back over to Fort Lauderdale. First, we went back to Miami and stayed there. They have the most beautiful water in Miami. You will not find water any prettier in Florida. I can tell you that much. But I don't know about anywhere else. But it's so crowded. It's like, oh, and I got to tell you this, Ivana. Okay. So it's very crowded. It reminds me of like New York City, but on the beach. Okay. Like
Okay.
I had to hold on to my purse the whole time. Okay, that's not the kicker. Okay, so we know already, you guys know, and even to know that I am just this innocent Southern lady, go to church on Sundays, all that good stuff, and I am sitting out on the Miami beach, and I look around, and I see naked titties.
Yeah.
And I discover that I am on a top optional beach.
I bet Chris was pretty happy about that one.
I'm sure he was. He tried not to look. You know, he did the guy thing where, you know, he put on his sunglasses, and I know the head wasn't moving, but the eyes were.
You gotta love that. We're gonna really come back even to that wonderful piece of conversation. You have so many great tidbits from your road trip that we're really gonna apply to our conversation today. You know, one of the things is you land on a beach, you land in this space, and you're like, what is going on here? There's clearly a specific culture going on in this space that you were not aware of, right?
I did not get that memo.
That's interesting. So interesting, because one of the things we're going to talk about today are the different cultures and styles that you'll find on different social media sites. What's acceptable and what's not acceptable to say or do. And so that's going to be a lot of fun, right? And
Exactly.
you know what? We want to do our a little ode to small business today, because we can start kind of ease into our conversation with one of the posts that you just did recently. Let's see if I can find it so I can share it with everybody. Where is it?
And this is one of my favorite places that we've stayed too. And we've stayed at a different hotel every night.
You say, yeah, exactly. So let's see, that is not showing. Hang on a minute. I have to find your post. There we go. Now we're going to try this again.
You got it?
See if it'll show it up as an option. There it is. All right, so okay, Rhonda, so tell us about this post that you made on Google Plus the other day.
Yeah, so this is a little kind of a hole-in-the-wall, mom-pop kind of hotel that we stayed at. Actually, they had like little cabin or chalets or whatever you want to call them. And so it was beautiful there, really small. It was cheap, and we just wanted somewhere to stay for the night, but we were actually very impressed. Very nice. The lady was like very, very nice. Even gave us coffee because she said she wasn't sure she'd be back early enough in the morning to make us coffee. So, like, really treated us well. Small business. It was awesome. So I gave a shout out to them. I was walking by the door that morning before they opened, and I happened to see the little sign, and she put out a telephone. If you look at the very bottom picture on the right-hand side there of your screen, there is a telephone coming out of the door with the cord still attached, and she has a note there that if it's after 9 p.m. to give her a call, and if she doesn't answer, call twice. So I'm thinking she's a heavy sleeper after 9 p.m. and she'll come right out and help you. I'm assuming she lives close by. But that's just small business, and it was just, this was in the Keys, actually. This was right down below Key Largo. So small businesses, they want to make sure their people are taken care of. Most people now assume you have a cell phone and you would give them a call or whatever. But this lady wanted to make sure if you didn't have a cell phone, you were able to reach her, and she let the phone out for you. So it was just so charming, and I had to share that.
So shout out to small business. I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Such a great example. So let's just dig in to our overwhelm conversation, Rhonda. So what are I can start with some of the biggest overwhelm questions I get, which is there are so many social media channels. Which one should I choose? Which one is right for me? Right. So
right. And what should you be doing on each one? Because I get clients that say, "Oh, I was told I'm supposed to be posting this many pictures, and I'm supposed to have this much text, and I should be doing this many quotes on Facebook." And yeah, what are you supposed to be doing, and on which channels? Definitely.
Exactly. So the best place to start, truly, and I know you guys have heard this a million times, but the best place to start is really with your marketing goals, right? And you can start, and let me just get really specific about it. Let's say, for example, if you're a consultant or you're a coach, and what you're looking for is to build, maybe you're looking for speakers, right? Or maybe you're looking to build relationships, or maybe you're looking to quote unquote build your list by building relationships with people. So if that's your strength, if relationships are your strength and you need to know exactly what your goal is with those relationships, that's a great place to start because each channel is slightly different, right, Rhonda? I know a lot of coaches and consultants really love Facebook.
Right, they do. They don't usually like Twitter a lot. I found that out, which I like Twitter, and I think they should be using Twitter for some of the conferences that they're going to. But they prefer Facebook, and it's probably because that's what they've learned and what they use the most. So, yeah, I'm trying to transfer some of them over to Google Plus and Hangouts for doing a lot of their coaching calls and things like that. So that's going to be a good platform for them. And if you are a coach or a consultant and you're not a client of mine, then that is a good suggestion. Try Google Hangouts for doing some of your coaching calls. You may really like it and get that engagement instead of just having a phone call. You can have a face-to-face engagement, and that even adds some value to your coaching experience as well too. But yeah, most of my coaches and consultants are on Facebook, and they always have questions. Like I said, it's you know, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? How many pictures? And, you know, and I really think for me and for what I've seen work the best, it's really, it's not a formula to it. And I think the people who do well at it don't get caught in the formulas of it. This is totally my
That's
opinion,
a
and I
great
haven't
point.
tested this per se, or so this is totally my opinion. But, and there may be formulas that work for people, but for what I see, if you're, for me personally too, if I'm trying to follow a formula, then I'm not going to be as engaging and real and me and all of that, trying to say, oh, I got to put 10 pictures per every text post that I do on Facebook. I'm going to get so caught up in that formula that I'm going to lose the reason and the engagement with everyone. So because I'm going to be so
Exactly.
caught up in formula. So for me, that doesn't work. If it works for you, that's fine. I'm not, you know, downing any Facebook formula people. I don't know any Facebook formula people, but there are. I mean, everyone has their own formula, and they know what's best. And honestly, I really think you know what's best for your business. You know what's best for your audience, and it's going to be different for everyone. Like I have a lot of clients, their audiences love to see like the inspirational quotes and things like that. So they may need more of those on their Facebook than just the text post. But you got to have that real engagement. So that's kind of my personal tip is don't get caught up in the formula so much because you're really going to lose your authenticity.
Brilliant point. And I think one of the things that we really should talk about is not every channel is right for everyone because different channels require different things and not everyone is good at everything, right? So I want to talk a little bit about these most popular channels. So let's talk about Twitter, for example. Twitter is a fantastic way to meet people, but you got to really be good at summarizing your thoughts and comments inside of honestly less than 140 characters because these days you've got to use hashtags. You've got your your what do you call it? ID name.
Yeah.
Your
And
account name.
honestly, even that's why I don't do good on Twitter. Can you honestly see me as much as I talk like a chatty Cathy doll? Can I really talk in 164 characters? No,
No, I
probably
don't
not
think you
for
can.
me.
And it's great. Twitter is that one of the things that we've talked about is Twitter is a great place. I like to see. We were talking about the social media spaces when you walked on to the beach and it was top optional, right?
Exactly. I didn't take the option in case you guys are wondering.
But each social media space is like that. It's like a room. It's like a physical space. And I like to think of Twitter like a news feed. Let's say you walk into a restaurant or a bar like Cheers, right? So
Right.
Twitter would almost be like, they have the TV on and they've got the sports scores and the entertainment news and all this other kind of stuff that's going on. That is great for Twitter. It's a great place to start the conversation, right? So Twitter
Right.
is
For
an
me,
awesome place.
I find Twitter great, and this is what I use it for. I think Twitter great for discussions around a topic. So you'll see if you look at my Twitter page, most of my Twitter conversations are about something going on, an event, a television show, whatever it is. That's what I use Twitter for. So maybe I'm attending the same event as someone, and we'll have engagement back and forth on Twitter, or maybe I'm watching Shark Tank, which is something I really like, and they get a lot of Twitter engagement there too. So I'll do the hashtag Shark Tank, and I'll have conversations with people like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's hit that deal, or I can't believe they're pitching this, and I love that, and that's what I love to use Twitter for. Is just to have to me, it's like I'm sitting in my living room with all of these other people that are watching the same television show that I'm watching or whatever. Did it a lot with the Olympics, the Winter Olympics.
Got it.
I love to watch the Winter Olympics. So I was tweeting with people back and forth on things going on with the Olympics. So that's what I use Twitter for. It's more around an event or something like going on. Like you said, like you walk into a bar, you're all here, you're all in the same place, you're all in the same bar. You know, you're all getting the $2 margaritas or whatever. So
exactly.
it puts conversation about that.
Exactly. So as you could see, I put up a screen share because I wanted you guys to see. I'm going to leave it on that for a little while so that you guys can see this really cool infographic. I've pulled a bunch of infographics that I think will help you and help us summarize what some of these tools are really good for, right? So we talked, let's see, we were just talking about Twitter. So it's a microblogging site. You're limited to characters. And you know what's really fantastic is that all of these tools will work with a variety of different personality styles. So if your marketing style is analytical and you're not a big relationship builder, you can do a lot of good stuff with Twitter. Like you can measure click-through rates and links and which conversations are most engaging, right? We've also talked about Facebook. Facebook is great for Facebook is ideally great for relationship builders, for coaches and consultants. We talked a little bit about that. I want to cover Google Plus and I want to cover LinkedIn in particular in the time that we have. Lots of people here are already Google Plus fans, otherwise you wouldn't be hanging on the Hangout. But I too have been recommending Google Plus to a lot of people. You see, it allows for brands and users to build circles, and what they say that Google Plus is really, really good for, hey, if you're one of those people that's kind of anti-email marketing, but you really love social media, building relationships, Google Plus is a great tool for you. It's great if SEO is a part of your strategy in whatever form it takes these days, and it's also fantastic for people who have great opinions. Rhonda, I've actually heard people sort of, I don't want to be extreme about it, but shifting from their blog over to Google Plus because Google Plus posts really are a lot like a blog post. You know? So,
right,
and then
they are. Yeah, I have too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, I think that you don't use your website so much as a blogging platform. I think you use your website more as a description of who you are as a business. And Google Plus is where you share a lot of your content.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
And
so,
you can share it live on Hangouts. Yeah, a lot of people like Google Plus.
And the other one is the other one I wanted to talk about, and I've got some comments coming in that I definitely want to feature, is LinkedIn.
Yes,
if you're
definitely.
primarily dealing with B2B kinds of businesses and you're doing like a one-on-one sale, LinkedIn is a fantastic place to build those relationships. So we've talked about relationship building across all of these tools. What we haven't talked about is if you're running a really solid content strategy, right? So if you're running a solid content strategy, Twitter is a great way to share that content and to get into conversations around that content. But your goal with Twitter is going to be to move those people closer to you, get them to follow you on Google+, get them to connect with you on LinkedIn, exchange emails, and get into another conversation. Because you can't build a relationship. I mean, you can build a relationship on Twitter, but the goal of it is to move it forward and to get people engaging with your content. And Facebook is another great way to do that, to share content, and you can feature content using Facebook. And the same for all of them. But I feel like I'm overwhelming people, again, instead of helping them choose, right? The whole point is to help people choose. So do you have any tips so that I'm not taken up all the time, Miss Rhonda? How do you help people choose what tool is best for them?
I ask them, I say, okay, which one comes more natural for you? Which one are you already now seeing some success with? Are you getting engagement with? Which one seems like a good fit for you. I really think, I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it. And most of the time, you can kind of tell if this is a fit for you, if it's not a fit for you, if if it just feels so hard to engage and have relationships on that platform, then that platform might not be for you. And you don't have to be on all the platforms. Everybody thinks they have to be on every single platform, and you really don't.
Exactly. So I'm sharing James's
So
comment, and
James says, yeah,
he says, with an 18-minute half-life of a tweet, and if you're late in replying, isn't that the truth, right? So
right,
it's hard to keep up with things. I was asking folks, and it'd be great if you guys can write in the comments, what is your area of overwhelm inside of social media? So for James, it's staying current with the conversation, because if you follow a lot of people, if you have a large community, you're not going to see every tweet. So there's great strategies to do that. One of the things I tell people, tip number one, set goals for yourself so you know what you're looking for and who you want to connect with. This is something that I had done in reverse. Oh, okay. So actually, this is a quote that I've heard, and you've probably heard me say this in our late night conversations when we travel.
uh-huh,
But remember that quote? It's actually about relationships. It's about couple relationships that
right,
says, every man, what does it goes? There are two questions every man must ask himself. Number one, where you're going, and number two, who you're going with. And Lord help the one that gets those two reversed. I think this applies to simplifying social media, don't you think?
yes, that makes sense.
Right? So your goal, where are you going? Because once you're clear about what your marketing goals are, now you can ask yourself, who is my audience and where are they? Right?
Right,
So that's the second question you got to ask yourself. Who's my ideal customer and where are they? So if your ideal customer is not on Twitter, then don't waste your time with that. Definitely reserve a profile. You can automate some things and schedule some things. It's important to be present, but you don't have to spend all your time there.
right.
And
And I don't think, James, I don't think you really need to worry about it. If
yeah,
you
right.
if you're not responding right on time, maybe Twitter isn't your best platform. I mean, honestly. Or like for me, I have, like I said, I have conversations on Twitter based on something that's going on right then and there. So once that event is over, or that television program is over, or whatever, the conversation is basically over. So then I'm done with Twitter. So I'm not manning Twitter constantly.
Well,
So
and there are
I
people for whom that really works. I've been a crazy Twitter
right,
person for a really long time. But the other thing is that, I have marketing broken down. The way you simplify things is break it down into your four marketing styles, and then you choose four core context strategies, right? So you're either a social person, and if you're a social person, you're building relationships, right? So no matter which platform you choose, you want to get into relationship. If you're a content person, then your goal is to get that content out there so that people can see it. If you're more
right,
of a charismatic, persuasive type person, then you are out there building direct relationships with people, and maybe you're doing webinars or something like that. And of course, if you're an analytical person, then what you're going to be focusing on is which platform works best for you, meaning like whichever platform you choose, what are the numbers like,
right.
right?
It's numbers, right? Exactly.
Then you care about the numbers, right?
Yeah, you
Um,
care about the click-through rates and all of that stuff.
exactly. And then now, once you've decided all these things, and you've got your content, you've got your what you love to do, pick one. I'm not saying to ignore the rest. I'm just saying decide that you're going to build your marketing around one platform. Like 80% of your time is in this other platform, and the other 20% you can handle through either, have your VA handle it, or, automate it or schedule it, right? So
Right.
that's really the recommendation I have for folks. And as to which one you should pick, you know, what you can do is you can actually track your time. Like if you're on Facebook all the time and all your conversations happen on Facebook, maybe that's the best one for you. So somewhere between, like my little Venn diagram,
Right.
Between what you like and where your customers are, you got to
Right.
really practice that, right?
Yeah, I think so too. If that's kind of the tip that I give my clients. It's whatever you're feeling most comfortable on and you're getting the most engagement with, that's probably the one that you should at least start with. So
But you've got a
start with
couple different
one.
things going on. You and I had this conversation. You ran this little test for yourself, right? Where you
Yes.
were like, I don't hardly ever post anything on Facebook, but I get a lot of clients from Facebook. Where all
Right.
your right. So how did that work out for you? What'd you find out in that?
I'm still testing it, but I did a little test and I posted the same thing on Facebook that I posted on Google Plus. A little different. I did the Google Plus one in kind of a Google Plus format with the, hashtag and all of this. I didn't do the hashtag on Facebook. But it was basically the same write-up. Within just a few seconds of posting it on Google Plus, I had engagement right away. Facebook, I didn't even get a like for like several hours. And I was like, okay, what's up with that? I have like 3, 4 times more friends and followers on Facebook than I do on Google Plus because I've only been on Google Plus for like 3 or 4 months now. So that was very surprising to me, and I'm still tweaking and testing this to find out exactly why that's happened. But I do know that I'm getting more engagement already with with Google Plus anyway, because then I think a lot of it has to do with the video and things around how Google Plus works. So, I'm getting that kind of stuff. I'm kind of distracted by James calling me a chatty Cathy too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure that out for myself. Why am I getting more engagement in Google Plus? But I'm not getting really clients from Google Plus, and I'm getting clients from Facebook, which is really strange. I mean, I have a lot of information out there on Facebook about what I do and all of that kind of stuff. So people find me on Facebook and send me a message on Facebook and, want to schedule a time to talk to me or whatever. But I get several clients off of Facebook, not really on Google Plus, but I get more engagement on Google Plus. So I'm running a little social experiment, and when I have kind of all the data in on that, I'll let you guys know what I actually found out. But that's kind of what I'm doing.
That's awesome. So the other thing I really want to bring up to everyone is check out this particular infographic, which tells you the best times to post. So another way to really simplify your life is to schedule your posts or to post during high involvement times, right? So I don't know if this surprises you. It doesn't surprise me. Notice that the Twitter high engagement time is between 1 and 3 p.m. and Facebook between 1 and 4 p.m. So Twitter and Facebook are similar. LinkedIn between 5 and 6, and Google Plus between 9 and 11 a.m. So anything now that can really help you participate live in different things, because now you know when most people are active in some of these areas.
Yes, that makes total sense. I mean, your LinkedIn is more, I think LinkedIn is more for finding a job and strictly networking. So, 5 to 6 p.m., that's when, most business and corporate people are getting off work and they're at home and they're like, oh, I hate my job. There's got to be something better. I'm going to get on LinkedIn and see who I can network with and get another
Well,
job.
and the other thing too is I think a lot of the thing that's going on LinkedIn for small business owners, if I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but they are trolling, right? They're trolling for contacts, trolling for customers, and that's a really good time
Yeah.
to do that, is to do a lot of research, because LinkedIn is a great place to research, connect, and interact with folks in that way. So
Right.
I hope that you guys got a lot of simplifying tips. If there's anything I want you to get out of this, I know Rhonda wants you to get out of this, is to free up your time and stop worrying about being on every social media channel. Pick one where your customers are and that works for you, and just commit to it. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and also make sure that you're clear about what your intentions are as you participate in this. Are you driving traffic? Are you building relationship? Are you selling stuff, right? Because you don't want to be selling stuff on Twitter. That's terrible. Social media is no place to be selling stuff. Social media is a place to build relationships so that people can tumble in to get to know you better and then come to your site and then buy your stuff. And so that's that. Hey, let's transition. You got a hashtag epiphany for me while you're on vacation.
Yes, my hashtag epiphany for you is when you're vacationing, hashtag stay small.
Stay what?
Stay small. Small
Stay
business.
small. Small business. Stay small. I love it.
Yes, I have had the best experience with the small business hotels than the bigger ones. And we've stayed at some big resorty ones, and one had a really funky smell, and they didn't even move us. The maids just kept coming in and spraying this crap. So they weren't going to take care of us. And it was a huge place. They just wanted to cover up the smell and not have us taken care of. So honestly, stay small. You're going to get better experience if you stay small.
Yay!
While you're traveling.
Loving our small businesses.
Wait to get back out there.
Exactly. You're ready to get back out there. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another session of Random Hangout. Hey, we're playing around with the tagline. Tell us what you think. What is it? Your Hump Day Biz
Bump Day.
we think that we are a lot funnier than anybody else does.
We think we're hilarious. I tell my husband that all the time. I laugh. I make myself laugh so hard, and then he's just looking at me, and I'm like, I'm hilarious. Do you not see that?
I know. I want everyone to see where she's so hilarious. All right, so thanks for joining us, and we are almost ready to, I'm not ready yet, though. I'm not ready to sign off.
Okay, well, find your outro, and I will make a little correction. James let me know. Twitter's not 164 characters, guys. Sorry, you don't have that many. You only have 140. So that's my correction for this show.
That's awesome. See, he's told you all about it. All right,
Thanks
so
for
let's
the
see.
help, James.
I have too many windows open, Rhonda.
Oh, my Lord.
Too many windows open. Okay, but it's going to be, okay, so guys, ready to say goodbye? Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next week.